This is an exceptionally rare gathering of 200,000 Ultramarines from Warhammer 40k. And this is 3 million 501st Legion clone troopers of the Grand Army of the Republic. These two armies are merely the scouting parties for their respective factions, coming to try and take over the strategic island position here with 5 different bridge entrances. Real quick, huge thank you to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. They have literally the best deals in gaming. I use it all the time. If you like Star Wars games, Lego Star Wars for $2. Star Wars Battlefront 2 for $9. One of my favorite Star Wars games, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, $1.70. If you want to play the Star Wars Galaxy at War mod, Men of War Assault Squad 2, $3. Extremely popular games can be up to 99% off. Link in the description below. Thank you to Instant Gaming for sponsoring the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Let's get into the video. Once these scouting parties die, then the real fight begins, with every Warhammer 40k Space Marine chapter coming in and fighting versus every single clone trooper Legion in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. So let's get right on into our warm-up battle here. If you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment on down below. Either way, Ultramarines begin to charge over the bridges this way, and the clone troopers over here should be doing the same thing. Now, the 501st clone troopers are very powerful, and when they're fighting modern or ancient armies in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, they tend to wipe the floor with them. However, the Space Marines in this game are all powerful. These guys are so unbelievably deadly that it's so freaking hard to kill even one of them. Not to mention they do have explosive rounds in their weapons here. So it's gonna be double hard for the clone troopers right now. That's why they have 3 million clones versus 200,000 Ultramarines. I have not tested this warm-up battle yet, so I don't know who could possibly win this thing, although I do know that it will be competitive nonetheless. Here come the 501st troopers over this way, and you can see the Ultramarines in the distance, and there is some fire going out. It was just a little burst round. It stopped after that, but there we go. Clone troopers are the first to start firing at the Ultramarines. I believe they have a higher range than the Ultramarines, so that is going to help them out considerably in this battle, but you can see that explosive fire coming out of their weapons there, which is tearing apart the 501st Legion, and not a single Ultramarine over here has died yet. And in fact, if you look at the top right, 2 Ultramarines have died in total, now 3, and 17,000 clone troopers have died. That just goes to show the power difference between these two armies. Clone troopers significantly weaker than Space Marines. However, once we get into the next battle, the clone troopers will also have ATTEs on their side. They will also have some Jedi on their side, and they will also have their nice clone commandos, who are extremely powerful. Those guys are wicked good on the battlefield. Look at this Ultramarine out here, just absorbing the damage. He's just slurping it up. He loves it. He loves the war. He loves the pain. This is what gets him out of bed every morning, is the thought of fighting for the Emperor of Man. Yes, sir. He's just chilling. He's just vibing out there. Yeah, he's still not dead. That's impressive. Right now we have 60 dead Ultramarines and 67,000 dead clone troopers. Clone troopers begin to retreat a little bit and then come forward. The AI will do that periodically throughout this battle. When they see things are going their way, they will surge forward and push the attack. When they see that they are losing, they retreat backwards. It's pretty simple AI, but hey, it works perfectly for these types of battles. And I thought it'd be really fun to have a war over the island, which currently isn't the main conflict. There's a lot more fighting going on the outskirts of the island along the riverside, especially over here. Look at this, huge amounts of fire pouring out from the clone troopers on the left side to the Space Marines on the right side. Space Marines trickling in through these bridges over here. Meanwhile, the clone troopers are losing large swaths of soldiers due to the explosive fire coming into them over this way. Makes it very, very hard to advance when you're dealing with explosive rounds in rapid fire coming straight at you. We do have 179,000 dead clone troopers on the battlefield and 176 dead Space Marines. Why don't we go ahead and do our first time lapse of the battle here? And remember, this is just the warm-up battle. To test things out, we will have a much harsher battle after this. On the right side here is the 501st, on the left side is the Space Marines. Alright boys, 10 minutes later, and we have 1,200 dead Space Marines and 1.85 million dead clone troopers. I think it's safe to say the clone troopers are taking the L on this one. Yeah. Well, let's let it ride. This is just the warm-up so we can balance the next battle. Let's watch this bridge here. Alright, there's only 2,300 remaining clones, and Space Marines are hunting them down. Looks like they're over here on this bridge and getting absolutely clobbered. Only 1,350 Space Marines died during this, man. That is absurd. So, I'm gonna go spend about an hour trying to balance the next battle, because we're gonna have some trouble for sure. That is a guarantee, essentially, that there will be a lot of problems with the balancing of the next battle. So, these last 360 clones are dying out, and the Space Marines get the W with their scouting party, but the war for the bridge is not over, because they need to retreat back, resupply, and then we will have all clone troopers coming in to reinforce, as well as all of the different Space Marine chapters. Let's get it. Alright, boys. We now have 1.5 million of every Clone Trooper Legion versus 1.5 million of every Warhammer 40k Space Marine. So, for the Clone Troopers, we're talking Shock Troopers, 41st Elite Corps, 212th, 501st. We'll see all of them in this battle. And as for the Space Marines, we're going to be talking Ultramarines coming back yet again, only with 1,000 troopers though, because they're so OP. Blood Angels, Soul Drinkers, Salamanders, etc. We'll be seeing all of them. But there's also the city interior over here, where we have ourselves... Oh, lag. Oh my goodness. Okay. 1 million of these Kriegsmarine ready to roll, as well as 200,000 Jedi Knights. So, the Clone Troopers outnumber the Warhammer units in terms of actual clones versus Space Marines, but the Space Marines outnumber the Clone Troopers in terms of melee units against their Jedi units. So that's how we balance this battle, and it's pretty even, and I'm not entirely sure who's going to win this thing. So let's get into it here. Alright boys, let's watch the battle for the island here. Laser fire and bullets are flying everywhere at the very start of this battle. And over here we've got the 501st Legion on the ground fighting against the Salamanders. Now the Salamanders are the weakest of all of the Space Marine chapters on the battlefield in terms of Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 mods. I'm not talking about the universe, I'm just talking about UEBS 2. just the way the balancing is. However, they are still probably 4 times stronger than any clone trooper unit. Wow, big lag spike right there, but now everything's back to 40 FPS. I don't know what that was. That might happen a few times. It tends to happen when there's a lot of bullet fire on the battlefield, and there is quite a bit over here. Blood Angels over here moving through what looks like 332nd Legion troopers, and yes, that is exactly what it is. Ahsoka's boys over here, and so we don't miss all of the battles going on across this battlefield, we're going to go in slow-mo for just a minute here, but you can see a lot of 332nd boys getting absolutely sniped out by these Blood Angels. The Blood Angels are the strongest, comparatively, of all of the Space Marines, on par with, I would say, the Ultramarines in this mod. I'm not talking about in universe, I'm talking about in mods. Over here, we've got the shiny clone troopers firing away as well. Oh, it's getting dicey. Look how many are already dead. The Blood Angels are already deep in their spawn over here. That is absolute brutality. Over this way, there's more, but next to them we should have the shock troopers on top of this mountain. Let's move up here, and yes, there is the 65th Coruscant Guard shock troopers. Now, these fellas are actually the strongest of all of the Star Wars units, and it looks like they are just absolutely mowing down these Imperial Fist troopers, who are very much so dying out. Look at this. They're trying to charge in, but the amount of laser fire reaching them is too much, and they fall to the ground before they can even make first contact against the 65th Coruscant Guard. And again, that's because the shock troopers are the strongest clone troopers in this mod. Not talking about total legions. I'd probably say the Galactic Marines or the 41st Elite Corps are the strongest legion in all of the Clone Wars. That's debatable, though. But in this mod, and so they wipe out those guys. I just know there will still be someone commenting, Daily, actually, they are not the strongest Clone Trooper Legion. That would be blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking about in the mod, okay? Actual statistics in this very mod. Over here we've got the Ultramarines, which there are only 1,000 of this time, and they are cross-firing into the island right now that is currently fully inhabited by the 65th due to the Imperial Fist not getting really any kills against them, but that explosive fire should be doing some serious damage and tearing apart these shock troopers over here. Moving further this way, we've got the 41st Elite Corps in their Kashyyyk armor, not their standard grays, but their Kashyyyk armor because it looks so much cooler, and they're firing away with their DC-15As and also getting shot up completely in slow motion. This actually looks so freaking sick, dude. That is incredible. Okay, and they are taking on more Ultramarines over this way. There should also be some Soul Drinkers coming in back here. Oh, there's some of our Assault Walkers here for the Warhammer units. Beautiful. Those will hopefully pack a big punch. And there's also ATTEs on the battlefield for the Star Wars units. Here are the Soul Drinkers coming in to back up the Ultramarines in the front over this way. Oh, look, there's some more over here, cross-firing over the top of this hill, downward into the 41st Elite Corps below. Now, in the city itself is where we have our Jedi, and this is where it's going to get a little laggy because there's so many Death Corps of Krieg. Yep. Okay, wow. Oh my god, the lag. We're not going to spend a lot of time in here, but you can see 1 million Death Corps of Krieg soldiers fighting against 200,000 Jedi currently. And this is where I think, and we have not looked at the numbers just yet, but I believe these Star Wars units will have a very large jump on the Warhammer units to start in terms of number of kills. The reason I believe that is because the Death Corps over here is so weak, and they will be going down so quickly, and there's 1 million of them. So I think they are going to cost the Warhammer units a huge amount of losses very early on. However, once the Death Corps of Krieg all dies out, the Star Wars units will outnumber the Warhammer units by quite a bit. However, at that point, it will mainly be Space Marines left alive, and therefore the Space Marines should be able to make a bit of a comeback and even things out again because they are stronger than the clone troopers. That's my prediction. Let's see. And it looks like yes, indeed. There are 1 million remaining Warhammer units on the battlefield and still 1.4 million remaining clone troopers on the battlefield. That goes to show the big difference between these two armies. The clone troopers starting off big, but I think eventually the Space Marines will start to make a comeback. Let's actually go out of slow-mo now, and let's see. We still haven't seen the Galactic Marines on the battlefield. We still haven't seen the Space Wolves for the Space Marines. We haven't seen the 2nd Airborne units or the 212th. They are all on the battlefield somewhere, so we gotta go find them. But right now you can see the Jedi and the Death Corps of Krieg flooding these streets and beating the ever-living snot out of each other and generating quite a bit of lag in the process. We've also got, oh my god, the lag. Clone Commandos back here rushing in as well. And those guys are the strongest Star Wars unit behind the ATTEs over here, who are also coming into the battlefield now. And they've got a nice little height position over here. They're coming down the mountain and firing away as they go. That's pretty sick to see. Look at these guys. They need sound effects for when they fire, but Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 does not allow modders to do a whole lot. I'd say there's probably still 500 or so Ultramarines left alive. I mean, they've got some serious longevity, but even still, at the end of the day, they will end up going down. Over here, we've got the clone shock troopers taking some serious amounts of damage on the island itself due to the incoming ultramarine fire here. That explosive fire, so devastating. And then this bridge over here is where the soul drinkers, and there are the space wolves, they're coming in and trying to mount this bridge and go up against those shock troopers and try and get a little bit more territory on that bridge for the Warhammer universe. These guys coming up and over here. Lots of Blood Angels still over this way, attacking against Shinies as well as shock troopers over here. The 501st and 332nd very well could all be dead. You can see the body piles for both factions are starting to really mount up. Over here we've got more salamanders, and they are firing against, oh, here's some of the 2nd Airborne troopers. They have some of the coolest armor out of any Star Wars clone trooper. That's just my opinion, but I'm also stating it as a fact. Back here is the Galactic Marines. There we go. Some of the most hardened troopers in the entire galaxy, simply based on the fact that Commander Bakara was a huge dick and made their life a living hell. And look at all of these guys mingled up together here, coming down the mountain to start their fire spam against the Warhammer units on the other side. We've got a number of Blood Angels pushing very heavily forward here, along with some salamanders through these trees against the Star Wars units on the other side. Yeah, it is all-out pandemonium on this battlefield right now. Currently, the Star Wars units do control the island itself, but that control could easily flip-flop as we go. We're down to 700,000 remaining Warhammer units versus 1 million remaining Star Wars units, and I think we will eventually start to see them equal out here, because the Warhammer units are winning the battle, I think, on this side of the island. On the island, the Star Wars units are winning and are counterattacking over here, getting across the bridge, actually, somewhat, which is pretty impressive against some Soul Drinkers and Space Wolves on the other side there, who are also getting quite a number of kills on this bridge, but the spam fire from the clone troopers is a bit much for them to handle. Over this way, we actually do have a breakthrough of the 41st Elite Corps. It looks like they took out all of the walkers and the Ultramarines over here. Now we've got more Death Corps of Krieg running on in there, as well as some Soul Drinkers going up against them and starting to clash in the middle over here. We now have 900,000 remaining Star Wars units versus 640,000 remaining Warhammer units. So yes, the Warhammer units are making a little bit of a comeback. Over here we got ATTEs moving in, and they're slowed down by Galactic Marines and 41st and Clone Commandos over here. So they're actually doing a bit more of a supportive artillery style role here, but that might be what they are best for. Why don't we go ahead and do a little time lapse here. We can watch as the clone troopers continue to push further in. They are on the left, Space Marines on the right. Be sure to watch the numbers at the top right as well. Now let's get it. Alright boys, it's been about 6 more minutes, and the reason I am pausing our time lapse there is because the clone troopers are making huge strides forward, but things are actually almost even now. 613,000 remaining clone troopers versus 730,000 remaining Warhammer units. There's still a metric ton of Warhammer units over here. Also a lot of Death Korps of Krieg, which is not the best. And there's some up here where the Jedi are pressuring them quite a bit on the cusp of this hill right here, and over this way too. Also a lot of Death Korps of Krieg over this way too, which is kind of funny. So things are actually almost even. That's crazy. Over here, we've also got a good deal of fire coming out from the clone shock troopers against Space Wolves and Soul Drinkers over here. On the mainland side of things, the Blood Angels continue to push forward with Salamander support over here. And they are doing a lot of mowing down of enemies, but also getting mowed down themselves quite a bit against large numbers of shock troopers, as well as some Galactic Marines over here. And I think there might still be regular clones. Maybe not. Maybe they all died out. I think the 332nd and the 501st died a very long time ago. I think the 2nd Airborne's still alive. Yep, there's some 2nd Airborne over here, but everyone else is kind of dead. So these guys doing a major defensive portion of the battle over here in these woods, and the Space Marines are continuing to just mow down clone troopers as they come at them. And look at that. The Space Marines now technically outnumber the clone troopers. 570,000 remaining Space Marines and 534,000 remaining Star Wars clone troopers. So it took a long time to get there, but the clone troopers are now outnumbered. Their presence on the island is still severe, but the Warhammer Space Marines are gunning down so many clone troopers in other areas that they're managing to actually make a little bit of a comeback on the battlefield. Oh god, lag from the Death Korps of Krieg. However, there's still quite a bit of cannon fodder left alive for the Space Marines. You know, I'm talking about the Death Korps of Krieg here. They are still going to be quite problematic for the Warhammer units because it inflates their numbers and makes it seem like they're doing better, but it's good that they actually for once outnumber the clones. But I will say the clones could very well make a comeback at some point here against the Space Marines due to the fact that the Space Marines do still have quite a bit of cannon fodder from their Death Korps of Krieg units on the battlefield still. And also, the Star Wars units do have quite a number of Jedi left alive as well, which are more useless units when fighting against Space Marines because they'll be mowed down a lot quicker than when they're fighting other melee units, so that could be another factor into this. Either way, what I'm saying is the balance of the battle is still quite even, and I could see, you know, the Warhammer units starting to take charge and starting to get more and more kills, but then slowly having that creep backwards as more of their Death Korps of Krieg end up getting absolutely devoured by enemy fire. Let's watch this bridge battle over here because it's pretty interesting. We've got a lot of Jedi charging the bridge, but then over this way, we've got quite a number of Soul Drinkers defending said bridge. And let's actually zoom in and get some nice tight action here. Let's do it, baby. This will look sick. At the top right, you can see 370,000 remaining clone troopers and 540,000 remaining Space Marines. Actually, this is a lot of laser fire. Maybe we got to zoom out a little bit to make sure it's not too bad to watch. All right, that looks good. Oh my god, boys. I think I got the numbers mixed up. Because this looks like 500,000 clone troopers and Jedi running through here, and only 20,000 Warhammer units left alive. I think the Warhammer units are the ones really losing. I think I reversed everything. Oh my goodness! That's crazy! So I guess the Warhammer units are the ones who started off with a huge amount of kills, probably because of the weaker clone troopers on the battlefield going down very early, like the 501st, as well as units like the shiny clone troopers and, you know, some of the other ones. Those guys went down super early, super quickly. Meanwhile, oh, lag. Oh, I thought we crashed. Meanwhile, slowly, the Star Wars units made the comeback. Oh, what a plot twist. I had literally no idea. This is, I think, the first time the Star Wars units, in the history of us making Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 videos, for the past 2 years, this is the first time the Star Wars units have ever gained victory against the Warhammer units. That is crazy. There's only 60 Warhammer units left. They're all dying out over here, and there's still 500,000 Star Wars units left. I say, let's go back, and let's reboot this sucker, and buff the Warhammer units, because I am so surprised by this outcome. I want to give them more Ultramarines. Let's do it. Alright, boys. I only boosted 2 things. There are now 10,000 Ultramarines on the battlefield, as well... oh, lag. As 50,000 Imperial Fist units. So, let's waste no time and get straight into it here and see if these buffed Warhammer super units can make all the difference. They have to make a difference of 500,000, but I strongly believe that these units could potentially do that. I mean, the Imperial Fist over here is trying to come in here. Or is it the Iron Fist? Man, I can never remember. They're coming in here. They're getting a few swings in, but the clone troopers are just kind of backing up and spraying fire at them. However, that is going to give more opportunity on the other side of the battlefield for the Ultramarines to spam out fire against the enemy undisturbed, basically not taking damage except for from these folks over here who are the 41st Elite Corps and are getting absolutely shredded very early on. Even some ATTEs back here taking some serious fire from those autocannons that the Ultramarines are utilizing on this here battlefield. Now, once these Imperial Fist units do end up going down, I think we will be seeing the Shock Troopers make a bit of a comeback, but for now, this is pretty detrimental to their health. These guys are coming far forward and destroying a large quantity of these shock troopers just by proximity to the Ultramarines and allowing them to cook while these guys die. That's kind of the strategy that's going on here, but they're all pretty much dead, except for a few on this side of the battlefield over here now, which will help to deter more, which is great. More of them actually moving in onto the island itself, along with some Ultramarines actually getting onto the island itself too, firing away and taking out a number of shock troopers, which is very good to see. Look at that. Yeah, these guys are so much more powerful than the clone shock troopers. It is absolutely insane. They are cooking. Who let bro cook? Because he cooking. Of course, the initial battle of the Star Wars units taking the W does stand as the ultimate conclusion to this battle. This is just for fun to see if we can actually make this a little bit more balanced in the favor of Warhammer units to give them a little bit of a buff, because I did run this battle multiple times. I never go to the sheer end of the battle, because I always want it to, you know, be a surprise outcome for me as well during the video. However, it's clear that the comeback kings were the clone troopers, and maybe I should have let it play out a little bit more. Either way, the Ultramarines moving through here and cooking like crazy. Look at this, ATTEs are all smoked now. Wow. There might be a couple more up here. Nope, these ones are dead too. Rip ATTEs, man. That is absolutely brutal. So yeah, just a little bit of Ultramarine flavor is assisting quite a bit. We still have, I think it's, oh god, which one's Team 1 now? I'm going to confuse myself all over again. Okay, Team 1 is the Warhammer universe, and they currently still only have 444,000 remaining troopers. So they're actually dying faster this time. And the clone, wait. There's no way that's right. This is Team 1, right? And Team 1 has 403,000 units remaining. Team 2 is Star Wars, which has 1.2 million still remaining. How is that possible? How are the Warhammer units doing worse with more units? It doesn't make any sense! Alright, let's do an overhead time lapse and just see what happens, I guess. Okay, so there's only 200,000 Space Marines remaining, apparently, unless I'm getting the teams wrong again, but I don't see how I'm doing that. That would be a reversal of what happened last time. And there's 1 million clone troopers supposedly remaining, but at the same time, I'm seeing Blood Angels everywhere. There's Blood Angels literally circling around the backs of these guys here, chopping it up with the shock troopers over here. The island is now owned by the Ultramarines, I'm pretty sure. Or just nobody? Oh no, it is owned by the Ultramarines. There's a small holdout of clone shock troopers over here. Okay. And then the city part over this way is getting surrounded by... Okay, so this time the team's reversed again, I think. Right? Am I going insane? I think the team's literally reversed again. Why does this game do that? That doesn't make any sense. 150,000 clone troopers remain, I think. And 960,000 Warhammer units remain this time? Bruh, I just don't know. Clone Commandos and Jedi over here are doing a nice stand in the interior of the city here, pushing out towards this side of the wall, but getting met by Ultramarines on the other side over here, who are shooting that wall. That's not helpful. And more Clone Commandos are coming out of the city over this way and firing downward at the Ultramarines. Clone Commandos are fantastic in this game. They might only have 500 health, but they have such a rapid-fire way of shooting, and they do so much damage with each shot that they are an absolutely devastating unit in this game. And they're coming out of the city hot. But yeah, I think the team switched again, which makes no freaking sense, unless I'm totally wrong. I feel like I'm losing my gourd. I'm losing my gosh dang mind as to who is winning this battle and who is losing this battle. It's crazy. Okay. I just don't know anymore. I just don't know. Let's watch this entranceway here with the Clone Commandos, and we can also see the inner city battle over there being fought with the Ultramarines on the outside and on the left of the screen here. Coming in, we can see the overhead and the ebb and flow of the battle. Alright, so it seems like there's still some sporadic fighting going on. 660,000 of, I think, the Warhammer units left alive, and still 29,300 Star Wars units left remaining. So the Star Wars units did actually get quite a number of kills at the very end here, but it does seem like they are just about donezo. Who are you guys all fighting here? Each other? What the heck? Alright, the difference that merely like, what, 20,000 extra units, I think it was, or whatever, makes on the battlefield is absolutely insane. These are the last of the Jedi. The last of the Jedi. Left over from Order 66. Running on forward here, and, well, they're gonna continue to get some nice kills on the Death Korps of Krieg, but womp womp, here comes the big boofers over here. About to just go shoot them up and destroy the last of them. So let's time-lapse the very last moments of these Jedi's lives. And there we have it. Pretty much the Jedi are dead. There's a few still around here that are getting hunted by blood angels right now. That would be a terrifying sight for sure. Either way, guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought. The Star Wars do technically still win this thing, but it's okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.